What's going on YouTube? I'm coming at you today with another quick coding lesson for you. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to get started with hooks. We're going to go ahead and start with useState. That's what I'm going to cover today. There are other hooks and you can even write your own as well, but this is kind of the most basic one, what we're going to do to start replacing class components, which is the old way of using React. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. I'm going to show you what you can do instead of using state and super and all that in a class component. We're just going to use functional components, and we're going to start off with setting something very simple, just a count that we can increment. So what you do is, as you can see right up there, you're going to define what the variable is called. Basically, we're calling it count. The next thing right here, set count, that is actually the function that we're going to use to change it. And on the other side of the equals, you can see that we're using useState to just set it to its default value of 0. So that was a little bit, that was what I had going just to practice before I did the video, but yeah, it's going to start at 0. We are going to use the count and then set the count after we want to change it. So let's just start off with making a little h1 here. We're going to put the count right in there. So right now we should go see it, and it's 0. Boom. You can't really do anything with it right now because we're not using that function set count that we made. We're just looking at the state of count. So what we're going to want to do is make some kind of event. I mean, OnClick probably makes the most sense, but of course you could do this with other events. We're going to actually call set count here, and what we're going to do is just take whatever the count is and add 1. Almost forgot to make that not immediately invoked. Alright, so we're going to go back, check it out, and when we click on it, boom, we add another integer to that number. So pretty simple. I mean, really not too complicated to do stuff like this with simple state, but I'm going to show you something a little bit more maybe useful and tricky here. We're going to do some conditional rendering. So I'm going to do the same thing with a stateful variable called header. We're going to make a function called setHeader. By the way, you always want to start these functions with the word set. It's actually convention, but you want to do that. So in useState, let's just set it to first. Now the next thing that you're going to see me do, I don't know, this could probably be done a little bit more dry, but I'm just going to make a little array here. We're going to call it a header list. And I'm just going to go first, second, and third. What we're going to want to do after this is go ahead and start off with our conditional. Well, actually, we're going to want to populate this list to make this work the way I want it to. So I'm going to make a div, and come on, auto format. All right, so we're going to make a div. Inside the div, we're going to do a little map, which, as you may already know if you're kind of used to React, that's fine to do inside of JSX because map doesn't actually return anything. And we're going to just, I don't know, we'll say item for one of the elements in the list. And we're just going to make, I don't know, another h1. Let's just go with another h1. And inside there, we're going to auto format back over and be annoying. All right, cool. So inside there, we're just going to put the item, and that should populate a little list for us that just says first, second, third. And there we have it. Can't click on them or do anything with them yet, but that's okay. We're going to get to that in just a second. So now I'm going to show you how we actually take advantage of this this hook and use the state within. So I'm going to make a little hash table here. This is a neat little trick that I like to do. So here's where I mean it could probably be a little drier. We could probably do some method to just take the keys from this hash instead of using a redundant array, but this is a pretty small example, so I'm not really too worried about it. I'm just going to make the value of these keys another h1. So first is going to be first header. Second is going to be, you guessed it, second header. And then we're going to do third header. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. So as you can see, we're going to need to access these things by the keys to get the values. All right, so how are we going to do this? Well, it's actually really easy. So all we really need to do, we're going to make a div where we can just go ahead and, actually, you know what? I don't think we really need a div. We don't need a div. I'm going to get rid of this div, I think, and we're just going to do some JSX because that's really all we need to do since we're already going to be getting the value, which is an h1. I mean, it could work with just text too, I guess, but no need for the extra div. So we are going to plug in the header, which is our stateful hook, into the hash. And as you can see right there, bam! Since it's set to first by default, that's the value that we get, first header. And in order to be able to change this, we are going to need to do another OnClick. So I'm going to make it so that we can click on one of the things in the list, one of the headers in the list. And when we do that, we are actually going to go ahead and just set the state of the header with that function that we declared in the hook up there. And look at how easy that is. We're just going to, the item is the thing in the list, which is also the same thing as the keys in the hash. So there you have it. Click on second or third, sets it to the proper value of that key in the hash, and that becomes what we have displayed down there. We can click on those numbers. So yeah, I mean, this is just your first little intro to hooks. I want to stay true to the channel. These are supposed to be quick coding lessons, so the next one I do will probably be about useEffect. Maybe I'll get into some creating your own hooks after that. But if you are used to using stateful components, with class, you can safely start getting away from that because that's really the trend now. We are getting away from class components and just going towards functional components in the world of React now. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you and that you start using hooks right away. Get rid of those class components, and as always, hope you have a good time coding.